Hi, everyone. My special guest today is another former student of mine, Gabriel Quiñonez. I've had the pleasure of being his professor for not just one, but for two accounting classes. He took my Principles of Accounting 1 class in spring of 2016, followed by Principles of Accounting 2 the following semester. Afterwards, Gabriel transferred from community college to LMU to major in accounting. While at LMU, Gabriel had a chance to intern for Kpmg, which is one of the 4 largest accounting firms in the world and a very prestigious place to work at. Thus, upon graduation, he was hired to work for them full-time in their audit or assurance practice. Before I get into today's interview, I just want to mention that besides being a very smart and hardworking individual, Gabriel was always someone who enjoyed helping others. And I recall when he was my student, he always took the time to help tutor his classmates. Even after he finished my courses, he would often come back to my classes to speak to my students, to encourage them to study accounting and share with them tips for success. Lastly, I want to mention that I hold an accounting diversity conference each year at Santa Monica College. The goal of this conference is to expose more students, especially African-American and Latinx students, to the accounting profession and empower them for success. No matter how busy he is, Gabriel always makes time to come to this event and speak to students. I think he's actually gone to every single conference that I put on for the Accounting Diversity Conference. So Gabriel, thanks so much for coming to do this video with me today to talk about the day in the life of an audit associate.
Thank you so much for that very kind introduction. And again, I appreciate you having me here. It's been a pleasure getting to know you along the years that we've known each other. And I'm very fortunate to consider you a mentor, a teacher, a coach, a lifelong friend. And I am just ever so grateful for this opportunity, and I'd love to get started.
All right. Thank you for the kind words. All right. So the first thing I wanted to ask you is, I have a diverse audience that watches my videos. Some who are fairly new to the field of accounting. So I want to let everyone know that students who graduate from college with an accounting degree typically work in the audit, tax, or advisory service line. Gabriel, could you briefly share with my viewers what exactly is an accounting firm's audit or assurance service line, since that's the service line you work in?
Yeah, so my role as an auditor is essentially to come in and learn about the industry, the entity that we're auditing, and find out all of the different activities that go on in order for them to get to the balance or the total that is on their line items of their financial statements. And so it's just an extra way to have a third party come in and bring assurance to the external or internal parties that are interested in the health or the standing of the company, and make sure that what they are reporting is exactly true and to our utmost effort, reliable per our opinion. And so that is essentially what my role as an auditor is.
Great. The next thing I want to ask you is, there are different levels at an accounting firm. Everyone graduating from college starts off as an associate or staff accountant. Then they move up to senior, followed by manager and senior manager. Eventually, you can become a partner or director. Gabriel, can you tell me what is the role of a typical audit or assurance associate, since that's your current level?
Sure, yeah. So as a first-year associate, your role is to pretty much just absorb as much knowledge as you can. You learn about the industry, your client, you learn how your seniors and superiors are communicating with the client. So you learn a lot about technical and interpersonal skills during your first year, how to approach a situation, the purpose of what you do, and learning why you're doing your task. And so a lot of it is really just like a huge learning curve in which the firm provides you training, necessary tools for you to really grow and advance your career as you work to become a senior. Once you're A2, a second year associate, your role is a lot more, you're in charge of your sections and more responsibilities for your role. You get to in charge some sections and see them complete from beginning to end. Whereas as an A1, you were kind of just predominantly helping seniors. As an A2, you go and you're take control of your own sections. In my experience, it was cash, HR, journal entries, financial reporting, alternative investments, lending. And then you're able to also continuously assist the seniors with their more complex sections or line items or accounts, such as tax and allowance. So that is pretty much the role of an audit associate, is to learn and understand what you do so that by the time you are a senior, you're able to lead your team, your engagement, and other associates and coach downwards.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Let me ask you something that's, this question may be similar to what you addressed earlier, but what is a typical day like for you as an audit associate? I know right now we're in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, so perhaps you can share with my viewers what a typical day was like before the pandemic and what it is like now that you can't go to client sites and everything has to be done remotely. So if you can talk about this before and after the pandemic situation, greatly appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah. So during my first biz season and being an A1, this was prior to COVID. So we were going into the office, the client site. As an auditor, you mostly work out of the client's office or their main building. It really makes it easier for you to go walk down the hall and ask questions if you need to clarify anything. So even the client prefers for you to work out of their office building for the most part. So as an A1, we would come into the office roughly around 9. We'd catch up on emails in case we received something from like a global extension of our team that was 12 hours ahead in a different time zone. We'd catch up on our emails. We'd spend some time responding to them. Usually by 10:30, we would catch up as a team and jump on a status call where the managers and partner director were on it as well, and update them with our tasks for the week, how much progress we have, what's left, if there's any items that we have questions on, if we're stuck on anything, and update the team in that sense. Then we'd get back to work for a couple of hours. And our lunches would always be with the team all together. We'd always go out. Even given sometimes we'd be in a large team, we'd take 2 cars, but we always made it a point to stay together and have lunch as a team. And it really strengthened our bond and relationships. And I got to explore a lot of different foods that I may have never even experienced before. So it's a great time for you to kind of just get to know your team, work better. Sometimes we don't have lunches with the client, which is great. And then after our lunch, we'd come back, we'd work through the evening. If it was biz season, you can expect some long hours in which we'd have another set hour or 2 for dinner. Outside of biz season, the rest of the year was very calm hours per se. Like in the summer, we would be done by like 4, 3 o'clock and be able to head on out early and enjoy our evenings. So that was prior to COVID. Once COVID came, the same schedule for the most part. But as a A2, I had the opportunity to be an acting senior. And in this sense, I was able to coach and mentor first level associates that were a year younger than I. And so aside from catching up on emails during the first half hour of my day, I would also just check in on their statuses and see what other tasks I can delegate or further improve or coach on them. And aside from that, our hours, they maintain the same. With the season or off the season hours, it was roughly the same as when it was in person.
I mentioned earlier that KPMG is one of the 4 largest accounting firms in the world and a very prestigious place to work at. As you know, I actually interned for KPMG before in their Taiwan office as well as their Silicon Valley office. And that was when I was in college, and when my friends found out, they were all oohing and eyeing, saying, "Wow, that's such a great place to work at." So I want to ask you, what are some of the perks, besides the prestige, obviously, what are some of the perks of working for KPMG as an associate?
Sure. KPMG is a firm full of incredibly bright, welcoming individuals, incredibly talented. Really, anywhere I go, anybody I've ever approached, they're just so nice and friendly, and they're willing to help out and go above and beyond to make sure that you get what you're looking for, what you need in order to get the job done, get the audit completed. They're always a helping hand, and that also goes along with the firm's vast amount of resources. They have teams of specialists that are whose sole duty is to just kind of answer these questions for you of complex transactions, any complex auditing standards, new methodologies that are out. These teams, they help you come to the conclusion that you're looking for. Anywhere you go in the world, KPMG is over 150 countries. Best network, best amount of opportunities. You can go vertically promotion. You can switch service lines from audit to advisory to tax. So there's horizontal and vertical integration in that sense. And yeah, really just fortunate to have amazing people and a vast amount of resources that are unparalleled.
Well, I have one last question for today, and that is, I know a number of my current students would like to work in audit at a prestigious firm, at a prestigious Big Four firm such as KPMG. Unfortunately, as you know, it's not an easy job to get into because it's very, very competitive. So what advice do you have for my students in regards to things that they should do right now while they're still in college? Maybe you can just give the top 3 or 4 tips.
Sure. Tip number one would be to attend all professional networking events that your school offers, such as joining an accounting society or the finance society and going to meet the firm tonight or whatever your school designates that event as. But having the opportunity to meet all of these professionals that are coming to your school, you get to know them, they get to know you, you find out whether or not you're a good fit for their firm and whether you see yourself in their shoes a couple of years down the line. So definitely joining these clubs, professional networking clubs, and attending all of the events that they're able to host would be my number one tip. Number two, stay in touch and build strong relationships with your professors. It is a gift that they bring back. Most of our professors in accounting, especially, they are industry alums, so they have been with the Big Four or other firms, and they are choosing to come back and teach all of their knowledge and experience and wisdom. So please take advantage of that and continue to grow up from that. They have the networks, they have the tools and experience that will help you navigate from being a student to a partner at one of these Big Four firms. So definitely take advantage of that. I'd also mention to stay aware of current events that might affect your industry, such as financial newsletters. One great one is Morning Brew. I highly recommend that one. But you can look at other ones such as the New York Times or Wall Street Journal. Stay up to date with current event news. You never know how it can be useful, but it's always good to know the latest news. That way you walk into any room and you're able to network and build a conversation off of the news that are going around the world that are significant in your industry. And lastly, I would say definitely keep a positive attitude and approach any situation with an inquisitive mind and a smile. I think a smile carries you a long way. It brightens up the room. People see you as a more approachable person, and you're essentially giving off the positive energy that you want to receive. So I would always say that that's very important as well.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the smile thing and the positive attitude. I thought that was your number one characteristic when you were in my class. I just remember every single day you were coming into the classroom in the morning with a smile on your face. I was like, are you aware you're in an accounting class? You know, we got a lot of material to cover. So I still remember that about you. And you still smile a lot today. That is fantastic. So Gabriel, hey, thanks for coming to do this video with me today. And I want to mention, congratulations on buying your first house. I know that was one of your goals that you set for yourself early in life, and I'm just really happy for you. And I was thinking, perhaps we can get together sometime in the future and do a video about how to buy a house, because I know for students that, after they finish college, that, after they secure their first really solid job, that's the next thing on their mind to buy a home. So if we could do a video on that topic, you can share some tips on how, someone can buy their first home.
Absolutely. I've learned along the way, and I'd be happy to share that anytime.
All right. Thanks, Gabriel. Take care and have a great day.